Hi, my name is Martin Smith. I'm the Director of First Year Studies. Every incoming first year student takes first year studies in the fall and then in the winter. And we do 5 works each term. So what I'm going to be doing is giving a quick introduction to the works that we do in first year studies. So I'm going to be pulling them out of the bag here. The first book, and this has been the anchor for several years now, is a book of poetry called Native Guard. The very first lines of this book, I think, really summarize what I like about first year studies. You can get there from here, though there's no going home. Everywhere you go will be somewhere you've never been. So to me, that sounds like something like coming to college, right? And it functions as a kind of introduction to the liberal arts. So we begin with poetry with Native Guard. The second work is often a surprise to students because it's a work of science. It's Honeybee Democracy, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is about honeybees and the way that they create hives, make collective decisions, and function. They even disagree with each other, but they come to ways to continue as a group. The next work we look at is really a kind of mainstay anchor of first year studies, which is Plato's Republic. And this is a work that as years go on, students groan when it comes up because everyone's had to struggle and work through Plato's Republic, but it's in the curriculum for a reason, right? Is that it stirs up good conversations, and those are conversations about community. And to my mind, community is really a major theme of the entire course. It's the questions he's asking that are interesting about Plato. And those are the questions that we spend time discussing in class. That's why Plato continues to have a place in the curriculum. The next work that we do isn't a book. Now it's a photograph. And this is Triborough Barber School by the photographer Bernice Abbott. And again, we'll see this kind of struggle with questions of community, architecture. What does it mean to live together, to be together in a city? Now the final work, this is a new work for the term, is Stranger in the Shogun City. This is a book about a woman making her life in Edo, Japan. And Edo would become Tokyo. She leaves her village in the first half of the 19th century, comes to the big city of Edo, and makes her life. And if Plato is defining an ideal city, this is a book that really defines an imperfect city. Okay, if the fall books were largely about communities and cities, the winter books I find to be united around the idea of how to creatively work through challenges to those communities. And this is really true about the opening work. This is also a new work for this year that has been added to the winter, and that is The Harm in Hate Speech. This book looks at, from a philosophical and a legal perspective, how should communities deal with the problem of hate speech. The next work we look at is Angels in America. This is a work of drama about the AIDS crisis and the ravages that made among the LGBTQ community in the late 80s and into the 90s. So again, it's a look at a challenge to a community and a group of people finding meaning and purpose and succeeding in building those things together. The next work we have that we're looking at is the periodic table. I think that the larger point here is that scientific knowledge isn't just a matter of information that lives in people's head, but it has to be communicated. And the periodic table is a wonderful example of an icon, a visual work that manages to put together complex knowledge about the world and present it in a way that people can grasp pretty quickly. The penultimate work that we do, the second to last one, is Poor Economics. This is a work that takes a global perspective on poverty, and it comes up with some counterintuitive answers as to how poverty around the world can be alleviated. The final work that we do, and this is a favorite of the first year studies curriculum, is Miles Davis Kinda Blue. I like the vinyl copy. Maybe you'll have an LP or a record player in your dorm or something like that, but you can also just listen to it on digital formats. But I love the idea that this is also a work that we can look at, just like the photograph in these books. And of course, Miles Davis, someone who is improvising and creating something beautiful. And so here we end with an emphasis on the role of creativity and the individual and the value of that within our communities. I'm looking forward to having a great year. And as you can see, this covers a huge range of material and questions. When we talk about the liberal arts, I think these books as a whole are an example of what we mean by the liberal arts. I'll see you all soon.